Okay, so I've got a Sharp. Basically, I don't know if you've used these or not. Probably you have in finance or something like that. But basically, a financial calculator has these 5 keys. N for number of periods, I over Y for interest rate per, we usually use year. When you do financial math, you'll play around with these. Present value, what it's worth today, the payments that are going to come in, and they're generally assumed to be at the end of every year until you get into leases in 360. And future value is what it's worth at the end. So we've got our payments, we know the interest is 8%, and we know it's 4 years, but we want to know what the present value is. Now, we likely think it's going to be $118,800 because that's what we owe, okay, or that's what's owed to us as Labakan. So we need to find out the carrying value or the present value that sits in here at the beginning. So we're going to use our calculator. And sometimes you press the button first, then you enter your thing. Depends what kind of calculator you have. And if you don't have one, use your phone and look up financial calculators. Okay? Okay, so payments are going to be 35868. 35868. Then you press payment. Interest is 8. Put it in interest. 4 is the number of years. And in this case, future value is going to be 0. So you can just put it in, or if your calculator is cleared, you're good. So now I'm going to compute present value. And it is 118,799. If I would have actually used the cents, I would have got 118,800. Okay? So I wanted to have a smaller table here without all the cents. Of course, in real life, you would have it in cents because your payments are going to be in cents, your interest, and so on. Okay? So that's how you'd calculate present value. You can play with that. There's not a whole lot you're going to be doing with it in this course. Okay, so we've got our 118,800. So that goes up here in the beginning carrying value on the date of the note. Okay, so we know the payments are 35868. So we'd fill that in all the way down to here. Now we know the interest rate. They told us on the last page it was 8%. So on the column we're going to take 8% times the carrying value. So if we take 8% times the carrying value from up here and round it, we will get 9,504. And that's the interest for this period. Then, for our principal, well, this is the payment, so if that much is interest, the rest is principal. So you just take 35868 minus 9,504, and you get 26364. And then to get the carrying value that remains, what's going to happen is we're paying off that loan until it goes down to 0. So we take the 108,800 minus 26364. We take off the principal because the interest is always extra, and we get 92436. So then you do the same thing. This would be 8% times 92436. Subtract this from that, and then keep bringing it down. Now, what happens, you guys, is always with rounding, there's a little error. It might be off by a cent. to make because we want this to go to 0, we adjust the principal amount in the last payment. Okay? In this case, we added 1. So it's a good idea to go through here and see how it works and try it out and have it come together, hopefully. So we've done the calculation for the present value. Then we did the installment note receivable schedule for the installment note. Now we do the entries, the same entries we did, the same dates. So let's go September 30th, 2020. So again, we're Labucan. We get a note receivable from the other company because they can't pay. We said it's okay. We cancel off their AR. Okay? So whenever payments are given and interest rate, the note receivable balance will be the amount owed. Okay? So you're pretty safe to go, oh yeah, that was $19,800 because that's how much we owed. Okay, so that was September 30th. Now it's the end of Labucan's year, and we have earned some interest. So we're going to credit interest revenue. Now, are we getting cash today? We do a section that says cash, so maybe we're getting some cash. When do we get cash? September 30th. So we haven't got any yet. So we're not getting cash. We're going to have interest receivable. Now, this is interest from September 30th to September 2020 to 2021. So this is interest for the first year. So this isn't the whole year. So we're going to have to take this 9504, and that represents October 1st, 2020 to September 30th, 2021, which is all within this year. So how many months have gone by since we got the note to our year end? 3 months, right? October, November, December. Feel free to count on your fingers. I always do. So 9504 times 3/12, which gives us, sorry, I don't know what happened there, 2376. 2376. So now it's September 30th, 2021. And what's happening? We're receiving a payment. So can we find some cash from these people? Yes, but we're not getting the whole note back. We're only getting one little piece. $35,868. Okay. And what are we going to credit? Okay, well, we've got to cancel off this interest receivable like we did last time for $23.76. That was only for 3 months. So we have to have interest revenue for the 9504 minus the 2376. So that is 7128. There, so we're done, right? Well, it doesn't balance, so we know we're missing something. So what am I going to credit? Well, is anything else changing? Yeah, the note receivable is being paid down in little bits. So we've got a credit receivable. It is going to be for how much? The 92436, the 26364, which number? It's the principal, the 26364. And so now you've written the note receivable. If you did a T account, it will be down at 92436. And then you repeat the same patterns. So hopefully that makes sense. You guys just look it over, do the pieces, talk yourself through them. And maybe with this, write down exactly what's happening. So here is the note is signed, and then it's Labucane's year end. And then a page. So that you know what's happening, you can picture it going back and forth. Okay, I guess I don't need to leave it here for you to look at because you can hit pause. Okay, now we're going to look at option 3. So going back to page 8, the first one told us a 1-year note, an interest rate, and it will be payable at maturity. So they gave us all the pieces. The second one said 4 equal payments made on the anniversary, and the implied rate of interest is 8. Now, this is the different one. A 1-year non-interest bearing note for 128,304. Now they have to give you an implied rate of interest. Okay, again, until we get to leases in 316, then you've got different things to do. So these ones are the ones you have to say, well, you know what? We can't say there's no interest. We have to imply a rate of interest when we do our entries. Okay, so the non-interest bearing note is a red flag for you to be a little careful because you're not used to these ones. Okay, now I lost page 9. Just give me a sec. Oh, I need page 10. So, I'm on 10 now. Assuming Bramble chooses option 3, we need the entries required on Labucane's books at September 30th, December 31st, and then the next September. So nothing new here. Now, the first thing you have to know is with a non-interest bearing note, the end value given or future value includes interest. So we have to record the note at present value. Okay, so the way we're going to do that, should have left just a little room. Okay. We need to calculate the fair value. So, keep an eye on the option that they told you. They said a 1-year non-interest bearing note for 128,304. So, that 128,304 is the future value. So that's going to be the face value of the note at the end. So face value of note at end. Well, how much are they going to pay us every year? Nothing. There are no payments. Do we know how long the note is for? 1 year. And the interest rate, the implied interest rate is 8. So what we have to do is compute present value to find out the present value so we can write it down. So I'm just going to show you again on the calculator. You've got it on, you've got your 5 keys. Mine, I put the number in, then press the button. Yours, you might press the button first and then put the number in. If you've got a programmable calculator, which, seeing as I went to school in the dark ages, we didn't have them. So I'm not sure how to get into them at all. But once you're in there, you definitely press the button first, then put your number in, and you can see everything spelled out. It's nice and clear. Okay, so 128,304 is our future value. And you can tell because that's what they said. This wording is a 1-year non-interest bearing note for 128 means that's the future value. Payment is 0, so I put 0 into payment. 1 is my N, numbers. 8 is the interest, and I'm going to compute the present value, so what it's worth today. And just like we expected, since it's all the same debt we're paying off, or they're paying off, our customer's paying off, it's going to be 118,800. So, that is how you calculate it. So, it's similar to our other calculation we did, except there's no payments here. And usually when there's no payments, you've got a future value. And if you have no future value, then you've got payments. That's usually how it works. But you'll find out as you do it. Okay. So with this, basically, with option 3, the note starts at present value, or PV, and then increases until its balance is the future value. So let's do the entries. So September 30th, 2020, we'll quote at present value. Calculate. So we debit note receivable for 118,800 and credit AR for 118,800. Now, this is the neat thing. This future value is what we want the note's receivable balance to be at the end. So the difference between this and this is all the interest. So we're actually going to add the interest to the note. Okay? So December 31st, add interest revenue to note receivable. Because we need to increase this balance to go up to here by the end. So how do we increase the note, a debit or a credit? A debit. So we're going to increase the note, that's what we want to do. By how much? Well, we know it's 18,800 is our present value. Our interest rate is 0.08, and how many months have gone by? 3/12. And so that's our interest revenue. And that equals $23.76. Okay, so when's the next time we do something? September 30th. So it's the next year, it's September 30th, 2021. And this is the maturity of the note. Remember, it was a 1-year note? So first,